Hello, I just purchased this Blue Rhino outdoor LP gas fireplace from Amazon. It's made by UniFlame. It's model number GAD860SP. And in this video what you'll see is the step-by-step instructions and a video how-to of how to put it together. I hope this helps you in enjoying your new fireplace. One thing though, because it was so windy that day, you may have a little bit of trouble hearing some of what I have to say, and I apologize for that. But overall, it should be very helpful in identifying the parts and the procedure to make your new fireplace and put it together and enjoy it. So thank you very much, and thanks for watching. This is the outside or the front cover of the owner's manual. It's made by UniFlame, but it's also the same model that comes under the brand name of Blue Rhino, the same people that make the gas. So this is the same model that you see there, the GAD860SP. So these are the 5 boxes that are in the carton when it was delivered from Amazon. So you have carton number 1, which is right over here. And in carton number 1 are the fake logs. Carton number 2, that's the lava rock. Carton number 3, that's going to be your flame unit, and all the major parts are in that one. Then you've got carton number 4, that's just a whole bunch of the uprights and the things you're going to attach the outside to. And then carton number 5 is the panels that go around the outside that are going to attach to the uprights in carton number 4. Then, looking over here, is the bottom unit that was packed in there, and that's where your gas is going to be and all that, and that's where the uprights are going to get screwed in and all those things there. And then finally is the last piece, which is right here, which is the top. And that's, you'll get to see that better once we put it together, but that's where all the stone is on the outside of it and that. But you have to put it upside down before you can really flip it over, because you have to attach everything on the bottom. So you have that, and other than that, everything seems to be built pretty well. So we'll take a look at that in a minute. Well, let's get started. We're going to be working on a box or carton number 3, and the first thing is number 1 is gobbledygook about don't take it back to the store. Then you've got the first one. So then you look at step 2 and you go, what? So anyway, this is what the parts are that you have. You've got the burner unit. You got the control unit, which is all attached. You got your trusty blade there, which I've been using all along. Make sure you have one of these, because there's a lot of tape and a lot of cardboard to cut to just get at the stuff. So you've got that. Then, in addition to that, what was in the box, here's your bolt kit. That's everything you need, plus a battery, which I believe is for the starter. Then you've got the whatever that stuff is. I think it has to do with the to keep the container or the gas from moving. And then you've got your covers, which are just kind of those cheap plastic ones that you have that you put over your grill. So my next step is going to be to flip it over and mount it in the stone, and then we'll know where it lines up there. So now I've got it upside down, and if you notice, these screws right here in the corners are pre-mounted already, so you're going to have to take them out, and that's what you're going to use when you mount it in the stoneware over here. So that's going to go right in one of those. So I'm going to mount it in from the bottom, slide it up, and you want to make sure that the control unit is facing this side of that hole, or the side of the opening. It's the only one with screws on the opening, and that's where, right here, is where all your controls are going to mount on with a couple plates and some screws. So you'll see in a minute what that looks like. So what I've done is I took the 4 screws out and placed them in the little wells right next to it. And now to get that unit in, instead of coming in from the bottom, because it has that big end on it with the controls, you have to just feed it through the top. So you set it at an angle, and then what I'm going to do is slide it all the way through, then bring it up to the bottom, and then screw the screws in through these holes. I'd actually show you doing it, but I can't do it with one hand while I'm holding the camera. So that's what we're going to do. You bring it in through the top and then slide it up, and then I'll hold it with my sawhorses right there, and then I'll just screw it together. So now I have it mounted in, and I'll give you a look at, I haven't tightened up the screws yet. So if you look right there, there's one screw, there's the one on the other side, one right over there, and right there. And if you look right there are those two holes I told you about in the top part, and that's where the other bracket's going to go in a minute. So there you go. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to tighten these up just so they're a little snug, but not all the way, because I want to make sure I get back a little bit, and that way I know that they're all aligned before I really torque them down. There you go. Now we're going to dig into this bag of screws. So if you look, they have letters, and they're going to refer to those in the instructions. So now what we're going to do is flip this over so we can cut a little slit in the back so we can pull them out without having fallen all over the place. So that's what I'll do right now. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and I'm just going to cut a slit like that, and then I can just kind of dig in there and get them out without losing them. So now where we're at is we're on step 3 of the instructions, moving right along. We're going to use the bolts A, and we're going to need 4 of them. So if you look right down here, it's calling for 4 A's. We're going to mount this plate right over here. So this is where I told you to line it. Make sure that these 2 screws, when you put this in, are lined up with those 2 screws, and this is on this end, because you're going to now take this, and this is actually going to go behind here because it has nuts on the back. So you're going to put it on here, mount it on there, and then it's going to screw into there. And that's going to just be kind of a brace for to hold the bowl in and keep everything aligned so it doesn't wiggle around in the wind and all that. I have the plate in place. I haven't tightened it up yet, but as you'll see, you want to have it behind this tab that's coming over the top, because the nuts are on that side and they're welded on, and then the screws are just going to go down into the frame. So then you'll have a nice brace there, and it's already getting stiffened up. So I'm going to tighten them up, and then we'll be done with this part. So here's what you've got in box 5. You've got 6 panels. These are all, at least so far what I can tell, they're all the same. And then you have 1 panel, and this has the doorknob on it. So you've got the door, and those are going to go on. And then in box number 4, that's where all your uprights and other hardware is. So I'm going to unload that in a minute and give you a shot at that, and then we'll start putting the whole assembly together. And that's if we go over to the instruction book, what we're looking at now is we're starting to look at step 4. And so in step 4, what we're going to be looking at is we're going to want 12 size A bolts and 3 size B bolts. And so I'll show you where those go in a minute. So here's what you got in box 5. All I gotta say is, oy, oy, oy. There's a lot of parts. Okay, so let's take a look at the directions over here. So the first step, this is step 4, and we're going to take it one step at a time, or you'll get confused. So step 4, we're going to first assemble the side opposite where the control is on the burner part. So it's just across from the burner part, because you're going to have the doors on the side where the controls are, and that's where the tank goes in. So the first thing you're going to do is, if you look at these parts right here, I got them all separated out now. So the first thing is, I've got two corner, which are simple corners. So they're the ones that go across from the controls. And then there's a center section right here, and that's what's going to join the two panels up. And then panels are going to go in between. Now you have these two right here. Those two are going to be the other two corners, and they're going to go on the side with the controls, because as you can see, they have some hardware or places for hardware right there, which is what the doors are going to go on. And I really don't know what the heck's going to go on there yet, but I know that's where they go. And then you're going to have the center section for that one is going to be the ones with the magnets, because that's where the doors are going to go. And then these other two are the sides. Those are going to connect the two panels on each side. And then you have that bar, which I don't know what that is yet, but we'll get to that somewhere. And then you got your three cute little feet right there. So those are the uprights, and so now I'm going to start assembling them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these three pieces right here, simple corners, and then the center section, and I'm going to go over to here with my bolts, and I'm going to put them in along this side right here. So you can see right here, and then up over on the other side, that's where the doors are going to go and all that other stuff. So this is the side I'm going to start building on. So once I get that up, I'll show you that. Got the corner braces laid out. Now if you look on them, on each end of the corner braces, right there, these are the simple ones. These don't have the extra hardware for the door. There's one end that has a hole, and then the other one has a nut that's been welded on. They're both the same on each side. So the nut goes to the top, or actually the nut goes to the bottom, but since you're putting it on upside down, it's going to be up. And then this, same thing. You've got two holes on one end, and you've only got one hole on this end. Being that there's only one hole in the frame, this is the end that goes there. All these things here, they all face into the burner section, because you want the nice finished end on the outside. So let me put those on, and then I'll show them to you before I tighten them down. Alright, a little bit about hardware here for putting the legs on. So we're going to have some A's, which I believe there was 12 A's. They're going to be going all along the sides, okay? And then you also have B's. And B's actually are an Allen screw. They're a bolt like that. So they're an Allen screw. So then you got to dig into section E, which is right here. And in E is your battery. And you got your little Allen screw, or Allen wrench right there. So that's what you're going to use. You only need 3 of those. You're going to put one over here, one here, one here, and one here on the other corner. So that's where we're, oops, sorry, one here on this corner. Well, there's my first side up. A few tips. First, leave all the screws kind of loose as you go. Let it kind of wobble a little bit. Reason being, not everything's going to line up real good. It's all stamped metal, so you want to give yourself a little bit of adjustment. In fact, I'm probably not going to tighten it up until I have all 4 sides done. Tip number 2, make sure that from the outside, the wide part, right there, this part right here, of each panel is going, it'll actually go up because you're assembling it upside down, but when it's flipped over, these will be the bottom panels that you'll see, and they have a little stamped in decorator. The one thing that's nice about whoever designed this is, if you look right in here, these screws right here, they're not, this is not the same space as that. So if you do put them in upside down, they don't line up flush on the top, and so then you'll know. And I know that because I did that. So just for this video though, I actually knew what I was doing. No, I didn't. So anyway, that's where we're at. So we got a panel there. I may give them a little bit of tightness, but not much, just enough to keep them from wobbling around in the wind right now. And now I'm going to move on to the next step. All right, now we're on step number 5. So we're going to do the side panels now. And what you're going to need here is going to need 12 more A's for the sides of the side panels. And you're only going to need 2 B's. So we'll take a look at that in the middle. Another thing they did that's really nice on the design, if we walk over here, is each corner actually has a pin. And that there's no way to goof it up. Because once you get it over here, we'll walk over here. You're going to walk over here. And now if you look, right there is this corner. So again, the nuts are going to, the ones with the nuts, they're going to attach the bottom of the unit. So they're going to go up. And so now if you look here, down here, we're going to put the screw in right there. Sorry about the wobble. But so right there, and then this pin right here is going to go into, that pin right there is going to go into that hole right there. And so if you go over on the other corner, it won't line up. It won't work. So you can't really screw up the corners either. So that's pretty nice how they did that. So I have the sides done. So what I did was give you a few tips here. So when tightening up the sides, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 7 corner or bottom Allen screws that you have to tighten with the little Allen wrench they gave you, and that's for all the uprights. And then you have 18 screws that hold all the panels to the uprights. So it takes you a little bit of time. So, and also make sure you have a really nice screwdriver that fits those screws, and don't go too small, don't go too big, or you're going to strip the heads, and then you'll be irritated and you aren't going to be able to find screws that fit. And so just make sure you do that. And other than that, I think we're ready now to put the bottom on. If you want to take a look here, here's the, there's a little wobble to that, but that's just the way it is. Once we get the bottom on, so that's where we're headed right now. So let's go over and take a look at the instructions. So there's the step 7 that we're looking at right now. 7, it's kind of folded over there. But so if you look, here's where the gas can is going to go. Here's your control. So just make sure that there's really only one place it can go. So just make sure you put it on that corner, and then we'll be back in a minute. As you can see, we're going to use A screws all the way around the edges, and then on each corner post is where the little fancy feet go. So that's where we're going to go. That's our next step. We're in the home stretch now. So I got the top in. I put the top, and as you can see, it's rather crooked. So, and the reason is that you have to bring it in to the unit, and then you're going to bring it up to the top, and then actually the screws are going to go through the holes into those. So you may need someone to help you with this. I don't know. I'm going to try to do it by myself, but it could be a real pain. So, but yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. And once I get those loosened in there, then I'll, just put in there, then I'll start tightening them up, and then we'll probably put the doors on. So there you go. So actually, I was able to get this in by myself. I haven't put any screws in, but if you look on each corner, you can kind of get them, the bottom held in place by putting it on top of the other screw inserts from the side panels. So it's going to work out okay. So now I'm just going to go around and try to get a couple started in each corner so that it doesn't fall through, and then I'll start lining up, especially here. This is a little more complicated, so on each side where the doors are going to go. So those will probably be the last ones I put in. So that's where we're at. So I have the back side of the screws, right, those all the way around here up to here. Now, as you can see, they don't align very well because the bottom and the rest of it is not aligning a little bit. So that's where that's going to come in, because I'm going to give it a little tap right here, and on the other side over there. And I'm going to try to get those to come in, but I'll be back in a minute to let you know if I've messed it up or if that worked out well. Alright, so step 7 is just about done. So let's take over here. I did use the persuader, and I would recommend a rubber one. Don't use a metal one because you'll bend everything all up. So I got everything lined up and loosely screwed in all the way around here. Okay, now I just have to put that one in, and as you can see it's a little off, but it'll all come together. It's thin metal, moves around. And then this one right in here, right down in here, that one's kind of misaligned, so I may have to give it some gentle persuasion. But other than that, I'll have those done, and then we'll start working on the center support that goes right in there, right up to there, and the doors. So, next step, number 8, moving right along. We're going to put in the upright that's going to be for the doors. It's got the magnets on and stuff. So, it's right here, and as you'll see down in the bottom, there's 2 holes. They're going to line up like that, so you can see that. And then the 2 on the top, right here, they're going to go over the top, and there's going to be 2 A screws are going to go in there, and 2 A screws down on the bottom. That's what we're going to do right now. Got the center upright installed. These screws went in really good, but I left these a little loose, and then the ones on the inside, because you have to, right down here, you have to use some B's right here, 2 B's, screw B's to, and they're the Allen, so they're kind of tedious because the Allen wrench bumps into here, so it's, you know, little turn, take it out, little turn, take it out. But anyway, got those in. It's a little misshapen, you know, it'll all come together eventually, and it is thin metal, so you can kind of bend it around once it's going, but it's coming together. So the next thing is we're going to put in the tank guard, and that's right over here, right there. So you've got the tank guard, and we'll take a look here at the instructions. So take instruction number 9 right there, and we'll put that in, and I'll show you that in a minute, and then we'll move on. So to put the tank guard in, you're going to need 3 of the wing nuts. They're the D, so you have to open up your little D pouch, and then you push this thing right here, metal, you pop it through, and there's 1, 2, and 3. So that's going to pop right up through there like that, and put the wing nuts on there, and then that'll be in place. And then these little hooks get hooked into a couple of holes down there. I won't even show you that. Figure that out yourself. So that's where that's at. So the wing nuts right here, I tightened them up really tight. I think they just use wing nuts because that way all you have to use for the whole thing is a screwdriver. So the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to put each foot on, and they're just going to go in here. Now, little trick, only go about halfway down, and that way you have an adjustment up or down once you get it flipped over. So you don't want to tighten them all the way down, just go about halfway down. And then, so the next step after this is you're going to see it flipped over and sitting there just getting ready to put the doors on. Alright, we're in the home stretch now. So we're on step 10. We're going to install the brace for the right side of the unit. And you're going to use 2 A screws for that. And I'll show you that in a minute. So now the brace is installed. That pulls the right leg and the middle column there together and reinforces that whole front, because you're not going to have a lot of support on the other side, because all you're going to have is a door, and that's where the gas tank's going to come out. So the next step now will be mounting the doors, and that, as we come down here, is step 11. And for step 11 you need 2 screws that are new to the procedure, and they're right over here, and those are your those are going to end up being your bottom hinges of each door. And so what happens here is you're going to mount the, if you look right up here on the top of the door is going to be that pin, and that's going to fit right up into the top of the, there's a hole at the top. You're going to stick that in there, and then you're going to bring these 2 screws and bring one on each door. You're going to bring it in from the bottom, and that's going to screw up into the door, and then that'll be your hinge on each side. So that's what we're going to do right now. So there's the door installed, and right here is where the actual screw went into the hinge. And once you get it started with your fingers, have someone lift the fireplace up so you can get a screwdriver under there and then torque her down, and looks really good. So if we go back here, and you can take this door right now and shut it right there. Both doors are on. They look really nice. They actually fit really square. I was surprised there. And there you can see the other hinge right down there. You can see the screw. They're kind of shiny. And that's your C screw. So now we're going to put the lava rock and the logs in it, and we'll be pretty well done. So now we're on step 12. So what I've done is I've placed the grate in the, it just slides right in there, and then I went to box 2 of the 5, and the lava rock, they recommend that you don't dump it onto the grate, but you place it on there because all the dust might plug up the burner. So I just cut open the bag and dumped it in the box, and then I'll just start placing it on there, and then after that you place the logs on there so you can see what that looks like. So I'll be back in a minute. So I got all the lava rock in there. Save a few pieces out for filling in around the logs. If you look at the logs themselves, just a tip, they do have areas that appear to, you know, be burnt or have been burned in the fire. So arrange it so it's realistic. So make sure all those face inside, and then the non-burnt looking parts of the logs, they are cement logs, so they're going to create a lot of heat once this is fired up. So it'll be kind of nice. The lava rock and the logs themselves will warm up, and they'll generate residual heat, so you aren't just having to keep the flame the only thing that keeps you warm. So that's that. So the next thing we're going to do is put the gas canister in, and also the battery into the ignition. So I'll show you that in a minute. So now we're on step 13. You go into the parts pack, and you go to the E, and you're going to pull out this heavy duty battery. And what you're going to do is you're going to go over here, and you're going to unscrew this, and if on the instructions it shows you the positive faces you, and you put it in, slides right in there. Screw that on. So there's that. You can hear it in there. So now you've got spark. So now we're gonna connect up the gas and get the flame going. So now we're gonna install the gas tank. I already did that, but you install it just like you would on a gas grill. So you've got that. It just fits right in there. But let me just show you a few tips. One would be, when you put the gas valve, make sure it faces off in that direction, because it'll bind on the this and the housing in there. So it has to be kind of, rotate your canister over that way. And then also you've got this secure chain right here. And so all you're doing there so it doesn't fall out. It's a little bit of security. Then you slide your can back in. Watch out, it's real tight there. You'll smash your fingers. And push it in. And now this is your pin that you're going to just drop down in there. And now that keeps the can from sliding out. And so there you go. And just take your door. It's got little magnets there. And you're all set to go. So I'm going to fire it up and we'll see what happens here. So the next step is to fire it up. Got the battery in, got the gas turned on, ready to go. So what you do is you take this right here and you turn it up to straight up, and there's a little flame and electrical thing. You got to keep holding it in. There, did you hear that? It went on. Then you have to keep holding this in. It says for 45 seconds. You can read about it on that long paragraph there. I let it go. Now it's on low. Now all we have to do is just turn it all the way over here. You can hear it's burning away, and if you look, you can see the heat coming off of it, and everything's going great. So pretty happy with it. And so tonight I'll wait till it gets dark and see what it looks like. I'm gonna let it burn for a little while, burn off some of the whatever is on the lava rock and the logs and all that stuff. It has a little bit of an odor, but everything's going pretty good. So that's it for that. Well, there it is, my new Blue Rhino UniFlame fire pit. I really like it. It's very nice, starts easy, looks nice, has a very nice pretty flame, and it'll be great sitting out here on those nice cool Minnesota nights and enjoying that beautiful gas fire. Well, thanks for watching.